Welcome, weary travelers, to the great big universe of XS.
Hey, Buster, don't look now, but that Earthling you're with is really an alien in disguise.
I shall continue tomorrow.
You must continue now.
And now, for your safety and the safety of those around you, we ask that you walk slowly and carefully to your first destination. Have a great day.
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your Walt Disney World information station. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this, my friends, is show number 96 for the week of December 7th, 2008. Continuing along with the spirit of the holiday season, we're going to look at Ye Olde Christmas Shop in the Magic Kingdom's Liberty Square, but rather than just a simple walkthrough of this quaint little store, we're going to once again dig deeper into its story, long history, and the meaning behind some of the things you'll see next time you're browsing through or even just walking past. And joining me this week is fellow Disney geek George Taylor. He's also going to talk with me about some of Walt Disney World's other Christmas stores, including some very interesting little details and magical moments, some extinct shops from days gone by, and we'll even give you our Walt Disney World Christmas lists just in case Santa is listening this week. And from one list to another, we'll look at another top 10 list with Tim Foster. And this week, we're going to wear our hearts on our sleeves as we look at the top 10 sentimental moments in Walt Disney World. Yes, we two manly men will look at some of these emotional moments that just get you right here every time you visit. I'll also announce the winner of last week's Wayback Machine contest before playing some more of your voicemails at the end of the show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show. Liberty Square in the Magic Kingdom may be a land that's small in size, but arguably is one of the ones most replete with little details and significance in design and architecture. And it's really a land that's less about fantasy and more about reality, especially in terms of American history. And like everywhere else in Walt Disney World, even the shops have a story to tell, and in some cases, more than one. So with the holidays coming upon us, it's time to go shopping, exploring, investigating, and way back a little bit as we're going to take a detailed look at Ye Olde Christmas Shop in Liberty Square. And joining me, magnifying glass and candy in hand, as we do a little Disney scene investigating, is George, Who Could Make the Sun Rise, the Candyman Ken Taylor from the Imagine Nerding blog.
Oh, thank you, Lou. Such a beautiful introduction. Almost better than Tim's introductions.
I've been working on... This is why I don't sleep. I just work on introductions the whole time.
Exactly. Let me put my candy down.
I was going to say, do you actually have any candy left over from Halloween?
Yes. Just a few pieces. They're in my scrapbook. So
it's frightening, but probably true. So
yes, exactly.
But listen, Halloween is over. Put the candy aside. It's time for Christmas treats, like whatever Christmas treats are in your house.
Candy canes?
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I knew it would come back to candy. So it comes back to food and candy right off the bat.
Food, candy right off the bat.
But as much as you like Walt Disney World during Halloween, I'm sure, like me and so many other people, you just love Walt Disney World during the holiday season. And you can kind of get that holiday season and Christmas time, even in the sweltering months of July, over at Ye Olde Christmas Shop.
Oh, yeah, it's a great shop to visit. But I guess we don't want to jump off talking about the history of it, or should we just talk about the thousands upon thousands of ornaments, basically, once you walk in? And it's a little... I will say, I love going during Christmas time. Very first time my wife and I visited, and it was 80 degrees out, and we're wearing shorts, and you walk into a store and they're playing Christmas music. It's a little like, what? What's going on? Not used to this.
Yeah, it's a little tough to be shopping for your ornament, in July.
Well, yeah, but if that's your only trip, that's what you got to do.
Right.
Grab the
And
gusto.
let's not take it for granted if you're not sure where Ye Olde Christmas Shop is. If you go over the Liberty Square Bridge from the hub, it's on the left-hand side across from Sleepy Hollow Refreshments, where, by the way, you can and should and must pick up funnel cake. Best $3.29 you can spend. Just be sure to wipe the powdered sugar off your hands before stepping into the Christmas store.
And your shirt and everywhere else. Now, is it $3.29? Does that mean it's on the dining plan?
It's probably a snack on the dining plan. I don't know. Take the money from your kids if you need to. Funnel cake in Liberty Square is certainly a must-do.
Yes, it is worth it. And I think the great thing about the Ye Olde Christmas Shop, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is the fact that it's got like 3-4 entrances and exits. Basically what you're going in. But yes, once you cross over the bridge and it's past the funnel cake area, it's almost directly across from the Hall of Presidents, which is nice. It's I love Liberty Square.
My
favorite
do too.
area.
I do.
Second favorite, after Adventureland.
Right. I think I love the theming here so much. I love the music that's playing in the background. If you listen very carefully, which little trivia fact, it was actually recorded using only instruments that were available at that time period. I love looking at the different architecture. The East Coast, the Philadelphia, and the Williamsburg, Virginia style architecture, and just sort of listening to and watching the Liberty Square riverboat in the background, and maybe hearing the howling of the dog over in the mansion in the distance.
Oh, yeah, it's a great scene as you walk in. I just truly love it. And, of course, but we're done with our funnel cake.
I was going to say, did we mention the funnel cake yet?
Yes, we mentioned it again. We're back to food.
And there's a popcorn cart right by the Liberty Bell, which is nice.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
In case you get hungry on that walk, there's someplace else to stop and get a snack.
But that's after the Christmas store. That's right, after the
That's
Christmas
right.
shop. But yes, to go into the Christmas shop in the middle of July to pick out your ornament for that year, because I'm sure, Lou, like the Christmas tree we have upstairs, probably, it's 90% Disney, but they're all ornaments we've picked up for the various trips, throughout the year, like that. And that's what everybody has to do. You've got to pick up a Christmas ornament from your trip. So it is a must visit, no matter what time of year it is. But it is nice to go into the shop during the July heat and get a little respite.
Right, especially since it's air conditioned. So it's
exactly.
now it's funny because my kids, especially my daughter, loves going into this shop because she wants to pick out, her new ornament, no matter what time of year it is for the Christmas tree. So it's become somewhat of a tradition. And there's a great selection in there. You can get ornaments that are personalized. They also have some of the miniature collectibles, like the little miniature town sets decorated for Christmas, which are sort of the along the lines of the Department 56 houses, but these are ones from Main Street, like the Emporium, and some of the other ones, which are great as well.
Exactly. I mean, I know you don't condone thievery of any kind, but I guess I could put that on my Christmas wish list. I like somebody to get those houses for me. I do not want to be permanently banned from Walt Disney World for accidentally walking off with one of the Christmas villages. Not that I would, but anyways, it's such a great shop. It's got such a great atmosphere, and I think my only complaint is it's a little small, and. There have been occasions I've knocked a few ornaments off, but we won't talk about that.
The literal bull in the china shop, as George tells.
Yes. Because I've had my funnel cake, I've had my candy, and my arms are flailing, and as I run through the shop, because I'm so excited to be there. It's a great little shop. It is so quaint. It's not like the typical shops that you get at the end of a ride, because it's the building is almost in a half crescent, or it's in a crescent shape, to fit the curve of the street, the way it goes around. So you don't see the whole shop at one time as you go into the building. But it's got such a great feeling, and it is not really broken up into different sections, but because of the way the building's shaped and the doors and the exit owes to its history.
Absolutely. And let's maybe talk a little bit about the history, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the architecture, because like I said, if you look at it from the outside, it doesn't look like 3 separate stores. It looks like three separate homes or three separate buildings.
Exactly. Well, I want to start us off because it wasn't originally the Christmas shop, and actually there wasn't a Christmas shop at the Magic Kingdom until what time was it? Was it 1986 when it took over from Merlin's Magic Shop? Dum 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 dum.
Great, throw the date out at me. Why don't you just back that bus right up over me?
Lou, exactly what hour, what minute, what second, what was the moon? What quadrant was the moon in at this point in time?
Credibility level just got shot down about 50 notches. Well, let's talk about what was there before Ye Old Christmas Shop. And you're right, it did not start off that way. And it was actually originally 2 and then 3 different shops. And the first one was a silversmith. And really, a real silversmith shop that sold, in these big, beautiful wood antique cabinets. There were silver teaspoons and tongs and bowls and tea sets and candelabras, all of which were silver plated. And over the sign, over the door, it said Johnny Tremaine, proprietor. And George, why don't you explain to us who Johnny Tremaine was? And I want years, month, days, dates, please.
Well, it was a book, of course. Johnny Tremaine was a book by Forbes. I think the author's name was, of course, being a librarian. I know all this. But it was also a film made by Walt Disney Pictures in 1957. So it does have a Disney connection. You might scratch your head for a little while and go, what is this all about? But it talks about the Boston Tea Party, the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, the battles of that time period in that area. So I don't know the exact battles. Hey, okay, you caught me on something, but it fits into that time period exactly. And he was actually, I guess he was an apprentice, wasn't he? Right. He was an apprentice to a silversmith.
Exactly.
Is that where from? Okay. See, I had something right. I knew there was something.
Now that's what the whole segment's going to be now, so you can, get the guy who
no,
next.
No. Well, I mean, what kind of toilet paper did they use, Lou? Jeez. But as you would have crossed over the Liberty Square Bridge, this is the shop that's now where it's got the yellow doors, and it's closest to where the Liberty Tree and Liberty Bell is now. The other store that was there when the Magic Kingdom first opened was Mademoiselle Laffitte's Parfumerie. I'm sure you can say that much better than I can. Parfumerie. But of course, all the people that took French and majored in French are screaming at us. And so, Parfumerie, that's okay.
This was one of your favorite stores, so please favor us with what they sold here.
Oh, gosh, some French stuff. No, it's perfume, of course. You could actually have your own perfume made, right?
Right, and there were actually perfume blenders there that made custom fragrances for you. They basically had these 6 sort of basic fragrances that they worked from, could create hundreds of combinations. And the cool thing was that once they created one for you that you liked, they were able to record all the different formulas so you could actually call back or come back, reorder exactly what it was that you wanted. And they also sold atomizers and eyedroppers and different types of glass cylinders. But part of the fun was going in there, having them create something specifically for you. And of course, if you wanted sort of the name and boxed and bottled brands like Chanel or Nina Ricci, or obviously probably your favorite was High Karate. I'm sure they sold it there as well. So.
Yes. Now, what was Eau de Lou? What did that smell like? Or was it Eau de Mangello?
It smelled like funnel cake, basically.
It smelled like funnel cake. It was a mixture of different Disney-related foods.
Funnel cake and popcorn, and very popular. Yeah. It made me very popular in high school with the ladies. Let's just say that.
Of course. So it smelled sugary, Lou. Thank you. Okay, so yes, sold perfumery gifts. So if you're an asthmatic, not a good store to be in, but.
So the third store that was there actually didn't open until 1972. And this, George, is, I think, one of the most unique stores to ever be in any area of Walt Disney World. And this was the Old World Antique Shop. And this was a real antique store. I mean, there were grandfather clocks and big pieces of furniture and tables and brass and pewter and copper. There were some reproductions in there, but there was a lot of original antique pieces, even jewelry and things like that as well. And obviously, the reproductions were cheaper, but some of the prices of the items in here ranged upwards in the thousands and thousands of dollars.
Sure. I mean, it's one of they had another antique store at the Disney World Village as well, at the marketplace. But this one was, it existed for almost 20 some odd years. So somebody had to be buying antiques at Disney World
Right.
and taking them home.
Right.
It's just, we think about a current vacation today, and you're just like, I'm not going to buy an antique and take it somewhere. But that was part of that area, part of the charm. I mean, I think I read in one of the books that when they were trying to open the shop, there was actually something, they didn't know how much to price it, and they put a tag on it that said $15,000, and they really hoped that nobody would buy it, because they weren't sure how much this was worth. It was like some kind of desk or something. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But, nonetheless, it's, you're not going to find any, I guess, vintage Mickey ears or anything else.
Right.
But they could have had Disneyland merchandise there from that
they sold vintage clothing, and it was very much like, that's the thing. It just didn't seem to belong in a theme park, but it fit well into Liberty Square.
Sure. And I guess, it almost reflects what was available at Disneyland as well. Well, what's interesting is that Disneyland had a trio of shops that was just like the trio that sat in Liberty Square. They had La Baton Rouge, which, it's now called La Baton Rouge, but it's called the one-of-a-kind shop that sold antiques. They had Mademoiselle Antoinette's Parfumerie. Now it's the Jewel of Orleans. And they had Lafitte's Silver Shop, which is now the Crystal d'Orleans. And I know I just massacred all those shop names. But those shops are actually still in existence, not necessarily doing the same thing. The Jewel of Orleans is sort of there, and the Crystal Shop has moved on, but they don't sell antiques at Disneyland either. So they must have figured out, take it to Antiques Roadshow. Yeah, I bought this at Disney World. They may not...
But
may not give you any credit.
But like we talked about on the Disneyland recap show, one of the things that we liked were the shops in that area, how well themed they were, how quaint they were, and that's exactly what you got here in Liberty Square.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was just one of the nice places, and it's almost like an update to what they did back then. So, but yeah, it was interesting. So in 1997.
Again, you with the dates. At least I'm ready for this one.
I was like, the date. What kind of numbers are we running here? I was thinking of, because where the Christmas store was before it moved to where it is now. Well, everybody knows where Sir Mickey's is, behind the castle. That's where Mickey's Christmas Carol was from 1986 to 1996. Of course, before then it was Merlin's Magic Shop, but we're not going that far back at this point. So that was one of the first Christmas shops they had, was back in that area. And it sold sort of the similar items, not quite as much as we have today. But in 96, they did close down Mickey's Christmas Carol, replaced by Sir Mickey, and it moved over to Liberty Square as the old Christmas shop.
Right, and again, this is where the idea of the three shops in one is you can really tell from, especially inside, but if you look very carefully outside as well. And like you said, we said it sells a variety of Christmas items, and maybe not as extensive as you would have found some of the other stores. But the thing that I love about this is the story that these three buildings tell. And if you look, like all the other doors in Liberty Square, the doors to these three buildings are numbered. They're numbered 9, 11, and 13. And the first building on your left as you cross over the bridge, if you look outside, you'll see a sign hanging from the side of the building, and it says Music and Voice Lessons. And the interesting thing about it, and this is something that we've covered in the past before, is it says, by appointment, Ichabod Crane, instructor.
Yeah, and at this point, I wouldn't wait around for him to show up, but he got chased over that bridge. He might bring
candy, but he's bringing candy, so...
He's bringing candy, exactly. Yeah, but that's just one of those great details that a lot of people aren't going to see, and, of course, tied back into that whole Liberty Square time period, the story of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, one of my favorite Disney short features, so...
Although I don't remember funnel cake in the actual movie, but nevertheless, Sleepy
Yeah,
Hollow refreshments across the way.
it was there during the dance sequence, and
Okay.
no, just
But inside this store, too, and with all three of the stores that we're going to kind of talk about that really are one, there are some great details here as well. And if you walk in that first door by the cash register, take a look around, because not only will you see a lot of things on the walls and up on shelves like violins and other musical instruments, but you'll see framed on the walls music, sheet music with songs like The Holly and the Ivy and I Saw Three Ships, Joy to the World. So it continues with that storyline that not only are you at this place to get music lessons, but that you're getting lessons or can go there for lessons right around Christmas time.
exactly. I looked for Stairway to Heaven, but it wasn't there. I
Ichabod,
tried,
play
but-
Freebird!
Play Freebird! But yeah, it's such, the details are so amazing, and it's got such a darker wood than the other parts, but I don't want to get too architecturally detailed in that. But yeah, they follow the music theme, and you can find some music-related ornaments in that part of the store as well. And some really breakable ones.
Yeah, as George, I'm sure, can attest to. You have many broken ornaments that you were forced to buy.
Yes, we've got boxes of half ornaments from Disney World.
But the second store, as part of this trio of stores, again, if you look outside at the sign, you'll see it says Woodwright is the name on it, and it says fine carving, toy making, and carpentry, and you'll see it's a bluish sign with a wooden horse. And outside the store is one of the details I like. You'll see a red sleigh out there, sort of giving you, right as soon as you walk up, the idea that this is taking place in Christmas time in the Northeast somewhere. Now, George, maybe you can help me out with this, because I tried finding out what the significance of the name Woodwright is, because the third store's name definitely has significance. And yes, I tried asking cast members, and again, it was, hey, buddy, are you going to buy a Christmas ornament or not? I mean, not that they came out with by saying that, they looked at me and they just didn't know. So do you know of any sort of, Disney affiliation or association with the name Woodwright?
I thought you were coming up with that one. I have no idea. I looked through some of the earlier history books I've got about it. Unless it's associated with an early cartoon, I mean, I even looked on the website of that guy from PBS, the Woodwright shop, just to see if he had any association. There was nothing there. It's just one of those things that just unless it's generic.
Well, for the guy or woman that is yelling at their iPod or their car stereo right now that knows, come on, Lou, I can't believe you forgot who Woodwright is, please email me or call me. Call the voicemail and yell at me and George if you like, and let us know who Woodwright is. But obviously, yes, inside, this is a carpenter's sort of workshop, and I love the details in here. One of my favorites anywhere in the parks is there's a little carved Pinocchio puppet up on the shelf. There's also some other toys and some chairs, some tools and dolls. A lot of wood carving tools you'll find either up on the walls, and if you actually look by the cash register stand, you'll see that there's cords of wood and some woodworking tools there as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful. It's just, I love the whole Christmas shop. It's just a great little area, and the fact that they transfer. It's one of those things where, thinking back, I wish we could have visited it in the 70s. I mean, I thought you said this way back machine had air conditioning. To head back there and see what they had changed, to get some more detailed pictures of it, because they did such a good job with the theming now.
Right.
I'd really enjoy it. But yeah, I imagine he was some toy maker, perhaps.
Yeah, like and I think, again, I think that the Pinocchio detail there is just exceptional. But the third and the final shop of these three buildings, these three that apparently look to be two-story buildings, but obviously only one-story shops, is a tailor's shop. And inside you'll find, not a George Taylor, but you'll find shirts and thread. It's not yours, trust me. Exactly. Scissors, a lot of pieces of fabric on the wall. And if you walk out the opposite end door, the door on the left-hand side that sort of takes you underneath where the Liberty Tree is, and turn around and look back, you'll see right by the door there is a little plaque there. It's a blue heart with two flowers, and it says Keppel, and Keppel is spelled K-E-P-P-L-E, and it says underneath it, established 1779. Now, Keppel is actually a name that people who are fans of Walt and his history should know, because Keppel was the name of Walt's paternal grandfather. That was Keppel Disney, who married Mary Richardson, and obviously they had Walt and Roy's dad, who was Elias Disney.
Wow. That's amazing, Lou. The extent of your knowledge is just astounding.
See,
wow.
It's amazing what you learn by listening to the 4-hour-long WDW radio show.
Oh, I'm supposed to be listening to this?
Again, I know you only listen to the ones that you're on, so...
Exactly. It's like, I check every week. Well, not on this week. I'm not going to listen to it.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's... I love these three shops, not just for what's sold inside, but again, the story and the detail. Like that little Keppel sign that I think most people walk by and don't take the time to notice.
That's great. Yeah, it's a nice little shop. It's in a perfect little area. And, I mean, part of the inspiration for that whole area was, of course, that Walt always wanted to have a Liberty Square or an Edison Square at Disneyland. Never got the chance. So the Imagineers were able to put it, at Disney World, of course, coinciding with Bicentennial. But it's just such a wonderful area. And as we mentioned earlier, besides Adventureland, it's probably my favorite spot once you get past the funnel cakes. So,
I agree.
Good.
I agree.
We're
But,
good.
I just thought while we were talking about the Christmas shop, maybe we should just point out a couple of the other Christmas shops in the area, because if you are going to do your Christmas shopping and maybe just your hands are full of funnel cake and you can't quite shop there, there's a couple of other well-themed shops around property that I wanted to point out. And the first one is It's a Wonderful Shop, and that's over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. That's by Muppet Vision 3D. Again, it's a very small shop. It's very nicely themed inside. Obviously, it kind of carries over that movie set theme, which sort of got the can lights hanging from the ceiling, some old artwork hanging on the walls. But what I like about this, and I think becomes a big photo op for people, is if you look outside, it says that it's supposed to be in an old Parkside antique shop, but outside, no matter what time of year it is, there's always snow on the ground with footprints and an old sled and the snowman.
Exactly. And it's always, it's a great photo op for me. My kids hate it, but I always get near it and shiver and force them to take a picture. And they're like, yeah, Dad, let's move on.
When do you stop becoming a tourist? When is this not your first time?
As soon as I, know who the Woodwright is, then we'll be okay
right.
from there. But yes, it's of course, it's a great shop to visit and enjoy. A little bit smaller. Not as cutesy as the one in Liberty Square with all the detail, but I just never get past the snowman. So, right. And I'm usually so excited after the Muppet Vision movie. So, but
right. But if you are a Christmas fan and you are looking to get your special ornaments and cards and stockings and Christmas Village and everything else that you can possibly think of that is tied in with Disney and Christmas, obviously you have to go down to Downtown Disney, to the marketplace, to Disney's Days of Christmas. This shop is a little bit out of the way. It's kind of by the carousel near the Rainforest Cafe. Undoubtedly, by far, the biggest and the best Christmas shop in Walt Disney World. From the second that you approach it, you get the sense that it's Christmas again, even if it's in the middle of June during one of those Florida rainstorms. You walk in, first thing that you get, in addition to the Christmas music, is that cinnamon smell. You get that Christmas smell when you walk in the door.
Smell. Oh, that smell is wonderful. No matter what time of day it is, right. You go in there. The Disney Days of Christmas is just a fantastic store. I mean, talked about how many doors that the Ye Olde Christmas shop has. This is set up in a funny L shape, and I can just get lost in there, just walking in a circle. But it is a great place to get personalization done.
Right.
Oh, it's a great place to get personalization. And any ornament you could ever wish for, any of the toy ornaments that we talked about, any crystal ornament, you can find it there. And I have never been in that shop, Lou, when it wasn't crowded. Always people.
Exactly. Any time of year. And I think it's because of the unique merchandise that they have there and the fact that you can get things personalized by hand. You can get things engraved by hand in the back. And what I like about the store, from a purely geek perspective, is how it's decorated. On one side of the store, sort of closer to the carousel, it looks like a living room. And there's a fireplace, a big stone fireplace there. And then farther along, if you look very, very carefully, you'll see that there's sort of a round display with a lot of stockings, sort of green legs. And as you sort of start looking your way up, look at the ceiling, and you'll see that you're supposed to be underneath a giant the boughs of a giant Christmas tree with the Christmas lights hanging in there.
Sorry, I was thinking in my brain going, yeah, okay, have I seen those before? I don't think I was looking up enough at that part in time.
Look up, my man.
I was so excited at the shiny baubles and the bright lights. And
you're very easily distracted, I understand.
Well, and knowing that Goofy's Candy Company is just a few steps away as well, I was getting the rush of the candy again. Well, you mentioned the Rainforest Cafe.
Sorry.
Got your food in there. But yeah, it's the fact of the matter, I never get past looking how they've got the store divided up. It's so wonderfully done and such a great feeling. And, I know, of course, spending several hours in there, I think the smell, I might, become allergic to cinnamon all of a sudden. But it's the one place to go if you're going to make a stop to get any type of Christmas ornament that you want. As you mentioned, the personalization. But, wow, I'm going to have to go back now and say, look, kids.
Now, speaking of kids, here's something else that I'll bet you did not know about the Days of Christmas shop. You obviously know the English Christmas carol of the 12 Days of Christmas. I hope by now you do. Well, in the store, they actually sort of tell that with a little bit of a Disney touch, and I think most guests aren't aware of that because hidden throughout the store, there are 12 scrolls, both inside and outside the stores. And if you go and talk to a cast member, they'll allow your kids the opportunity to sort of go exploring and try and find them all. So, for example, under the decorated tree that I was telling you about with the limbs with all the Christmas lights on it, there is the first day of Christmas. And you'll see it's Mickey in a Yule tree. But if you keep searching around for these other scrolls, you'll find 2 Tweedledees, 4 chiming bells, 7 dwarves a mining, 9 genies flying, 10 minis a dancing, no, I'm not going to sing it, and 12 fairies a flitting. And if your child goes through, finds all of them at the end of the quest, not only do they get a free Magical Moments certificate, but they also get a free Mickey-shaped ornament. So Fantastic. It gives your kids something fun to do with cast members. I mean, the cast members will join in with the kids if they want, while you guys go off shopping or sneak out to Goofy's Candy Company. So it gives them a sort of chance to explore on their own little mini adventure and something for them to do while you're shopping for potentially hours on end. Exactly.
That's what I was thinking. It's going to keep the kids busy while you're waiting on your personalization for your ornaments. Oh, that is great. I'll have to... Now, it's kids only?
Kid is a relative term. I'm sure if you want to do it, they'll give you a Magical Moment certificate as well. I mean,
because they won't let me up on that Jedi stage.
You and me both.
That's it. Exactly. That's a different DSI or a different scene altogether that we can't do either one of those. So, but, we've talked about some of the different Christmas locations, but I wonder if we could have a little visit from the Shop of Christmas Past.
Absolutely.
Ghost of Christmas Past shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how we can talk about that, but one of the coolest stores that unfortunately is no longer in existence was the Christmas Chalet, which was located at the Village Marketplace, which is now downtown Disney, and where the World of Disney store is.
Right.
And, of course, the Chalet, you get that A-frame design. You think, Swiss skiing house. For all of the listeners out there, I do have to, take a personal moment, and it's where my wife and I on our first vacation bought our first Disney ornament together. I mean, it's... Okay, hold back the tears. I'm okay. It was such a nice moment where...
well, for you guys maybe, but move on for the rest of us.
For everybody else, they're like, fast forward, let's go past it. But it was, unfortunately, it was raised in 96 for the Disney store, but it was also part of a pottery place before that where you could actually have somebody, they would fire and throw the clay and make something for you. And...
Fire and throw, is that the technical term?
Yes.
People want to throw you in their people want to throw you in their kiln right now.
It's not exactly that way. It's throw and then fire it, I guess. I'm not a potter. Let's talk about Harry Potter. But what they did is the village. They also they had seasonal window displays that they did in the store, telling the Christmas Carol, and like they have at the Emporium. The different displays and trees decorated. You could actually get some personalization of your ornaments then. It wasn't on the scale of the Disney Days of Christmas. But one of the interesting things is if you look at the west side, the west entrance, one of the older entrances where the bus stop is for downtown Disney, closer to the hotels, there's actually a snow display with some characters there. I think they've got Mickey, and I think Donald is there. That was one of the original displays from the Christmas chalet that they were able to save and move, which is another great photo op. You know, I get in front of it, stand and shiver, and my kids are like, "Yeah, Dad, whatever."
Yeah, we did that already in Liberty's. We did that in the studios. It wasn't funny then, not funny now.
But still, it's it was one of the original ones that's now gone, and like I said, it holds a little spot in my heart. So that's okay. That's okay.
Now, I actually remember not that shop as much as the old Christmas shop that used to be on Main Street, on the east side of Main Street. There was, a shop that I guess only sort of rivaled the Christmas chalet as far as the selection. But what they had was a scene in there as well. They had a little library scene in there with Mickey sort of curled up by a fire in front of the Christmas tree. And obviously it sold the same types of souvenirs and ornaments and tree toppers and wooden soldiers and things like that. But that was one of the very unique, very nice shops on that side of Main Street that went away, 15, 20 years ago. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Oh, sure. Yeah, all the changes that have happened on Main Street. Yeah. That's progress.
Absolutely.
That's progress. So, but yeah, it's the Christmas stores that have come and gone. I guess we should have done the segment based on that. So, but now, is this where we're breaking out the Christmas lists?
This is right.
I want the monorail set finally. I don't need all the colors.
All right, wait. Before you say, before you're going to go through your list, we were talking about Christmas and shopping. Yes. So obviously, you've been making up your Christmas list. You've been making sure you're on the nice and not the naughty list. So,
oh, really?
Well, hopefully for your sake. So,
okay, yeah.
I think, the parameters that I sort of went under, and hopefully you did as well, was you can have anything. You can put anything on your list in the stores on property that you can put on your list, or maybe anything on property that if someday it was to be sold, you might want to have.
Polynesian Hotel. Oh, sorry, I can't have the whole thing. Okay, I apologize for that.
Only if you give me Park Place and Boardwalk.
Oh, okay, sure. No, it would be Boardwalk and the Beach Club. Right? I don't know where to get that far, but oh gosh, I know it was so difficult because I'm thinking, could I have the real monorail? Because
within
they
reason.
Saw that to
within
me
reason.
Within reason. No, I've always wanted the monorail set. I always walk by it and think, and I've got to feed my kids. They got to eat something at some point in time, or I get distracted by the books. If I got those books. So I want the monorail set is probably right now top of my list, just because I've just been jonesing for it for a long time. And if we go back in time, there was this really cool Weeble Wobble set from the 70s of the Magic Kingdom. I really want that, but
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Yeah, well, but you said we can't bring stuff back in the way back.
We can't bring stuff back in the Wayback Machine. That is one of the. Now I will tell you, George, I actually have the monorail set, and I have the Polynesian. I've got the Contemporary, and I've got the Castle, and it is one of my favorite things to set up during Christmas time, and it's one of the things that people that come to my house talk about the most because
how do you keep the kids away from it?
Well, that was tough. Again, usually the people that are coming to my house are usually family services because I'm tasering my kids to keep them away from the monorail set.
Toys.
Originally I was trying to keep the cat away because he would chase the monorail around, and then my young son thought it was a toy and realized it was one of Daddy's collectibles. So it's been put away for a year or two. We might try and take it back out again this year, but I love collecting the monorails and building the tracks, and then as it gets bigger and bigger, so you can put some of these little playset pieces in there, because there's also attractions that you can put in there as well. Mm-hmm. There's a Haunted Mansion, there's a Dumbo, there's a lot of things that you can add to the playset as well. So
that's what I meant, the whole thing, all of it.
You want it all in one shot.
I want it all in one shot.
All 12 colors, everything.
Everything, all in one shot, ready to go and set up for me, and where I can be king of the world. Don't have to do anything.
No, setting it up is part of the fun. Yeah, that is definitely part of the fun. So
because I had a model train set when I was a kid, and it was frustrating, but that's okay.
Again, I think you have a lot of issues that we need to resolve on a separate segment. But I will. I'll tell you, I had a tough time as well trying to think of things. But one thing that I would probably put on my Christmas list, and with sort of the caveat that I get all the new pieces as they come out as well, Santa, is the Robert Olszewski Main Street USA collection. These are small miniature architectural, very, very accurate architectural models representing all the buildings on Main Street in the Magic Kingdom. There's also characters as well. You can get some of the little cars. There's Town Square. There's the Emporium. There is the Exposition Hall, the Confectionery, George, obviously one of your places. Yeah. They are beautiful, beautiful. I mean, you can get, light sets for them and everything else. The castle itself is just simply spectacular.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it, and a very good friend of mine, do a shout out to Matt. Hey, Matt, has the entire Olszewski collection, and he, of course, won't let me near it. I can stand back and see it from about 5 feet. He's got a perimeter, but it is astounding to see the whole thing put together. It is absolutely amazing. And yeah, okay, I can see that. That does trump my monorail dream. That does trump my monorail dream. Are we going to one-up it and I want keys to Goofy's Candy Company?
No, it's not a contest. Just things that you might like on your list.
Okay. Well, then I always pick up a mug. I need a Disney mug. I need a Disney tie. There's different little things like that. Every Disney book that comes out, popcorn served to me every day from Main Street. I mean, I'm not asking for too much, right?
No, you're not shooting for the stars. So
no, not at all. I mean, free hotel rooms, free annual pass.
Times are tough even for Santa as well. So. Now, I continue to think about things that I might normally not be able to afford or can justify or explain to my wife on my own. So I said the Walt Disney Classic Collection, those are the collectible little figurines that you see in the glass cases in places like the Emporium and World of Disney, the entire set of all the Peter Pan figures. Obviously, I'm a big Peter Pan fan. I have one that I sort of treated myself to and would love to get the whole set. Obviously, I'd also love to get one of the custom watches from the watch artists. I've had Jason Zucker. I talk about him all the time. He's the watch artist over at Sunset Club Couture. They run about a couple of $100, but to have a Disney artist create a custom watch with a character that I like, for $200 or so, frame the watch with the full-size picture that they draw for it is something that I would love to add to my collection, and just sort of the if I can dream it, I can have it thing. I'd love to have, again, don't ask me what I would do with it, but a Doom buggy or a Horizons ride vehicle, any sort of attraction memorabilia. Those are the collectibles that to me, just the one of a kind. Again, those silly little Mr. Toad plywood cutouts that are painted, I'd love to have one.
And would you have them set up in your hallway so when visitors came, they kind of jumped out at them and flew out, black lights came on? See, I sound like Tim Foster now. Yeah, I'm going to pick on all my guests. No, I can see what you're saying. I wasn't dreaming that big that we would actually get attraction vehicles and stuff like that. I'm wondering, could you actually sleep in a Splash Mountain log?
I'm sure you could probably hollow one out and do it. How's that for something for your son's bedroom?
Well, I was thinking my bedroom.
Well, listen.
Yeah, I can hear my wife.
Wife.
Yeah, well, I'd be sleeping alone at that point. So, but anything as you mentioned in the Art of Disney store would be okay. Yeah. And where are we going to have people ship all this stuff to? Is there a post office box that we can use?
There is. There's the WDW Radio International Headquarters.
International Headquarters. We even pay for shipping for some of this stuff.
That's right.
But yeah, there's so many great collectibles out there that you could just get, and that's okay. Just have to build another extension onto the house. My books already take up one room, and just go from there.
I'm sure. But it's listen. I'm happy that you came on. You see, George Taylor is more than just about books. And if you love the holidays, if you love Christmas time and Christmas ornaments, not only are there a lot of places to shop in and around property, both inside the theme parks and out, but all of them are very rich in detail, rich in story. And again, I invite you and encourage you to look up and explore some of the wonderful details and some of the rich history that a lot of these places have. And George Taylor, the head nerd over at Imaginerding.com. I want to thank you again for coming on and taking these 2-3 hours and exploring Christmas shopping in the parks with me.
Well, I thought it was an all-expense-paid vacation, but I guess not. It's just the Wayback Machine's just like my computer chair. Wow.
Exactly.
So, no, Lou, it was fantastic. I even learned a few things. I bow down to the master, and appreciate all the hard work you do with the DSIs, getting them ready, because you make me sound better than I am. But thank you, Lou. It was a lot of fun. So
I learned a lot about you as well, like it or not. So thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Over the past many months, and maybe even years at this point, we've done many top 10 lists, and some that deal with attractions or places, memories, even sounds and smells. And while many have dealt with the tangible, others have dealt with some things that you might not necessarily be able to touch, see, or, dare I say, even eat. And this week, well, this week's top 10 might top the list of top 10s as far as those that are very subjective as well as hard to quantify. For this week, Samantha Foster joins me as we discuss our top 10 gulp sentimental moments in Walt Disney World. Those things that just get you all teary-eyed. And joining me, as always, is the man that I promise I will strangle if he gets me all choked up and makes me cry on my own show. Tim, celebrate good times. Come on, Foster.
Thanks. I think it's going to be a race as to who cries first. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Listen, I'm going to preface this segment by saying that I am very cautiously doing this top 10 as I may very well be putting my entire masculinity at risk. So
you have a box of tissues right there.
I do. But
your little hanky all ready to go.
That being said, I am comfortable with it. And if some of you say that you never get a little choked up while in Walt Disney World, well, clearly you didn't eat enough. So liars. Don't call the listeners liars. It's so not good. That's not the way to sell copies of Guide to the Magic. Just so you know.
There you go.
So. Like I said, Tim, this is I think a very subjective list, and everybody's list is going to be very different. But what I wanted to do was not necessarily take specific moments from my personal experiences, but look at things that I think generally elicit an emotional response from people, whether you're man, woman, and child. And we say top 10, so what I think we'll do is I'll do 5, and you'll do 5, and hopefully that's going to let me get through this list without completely embarrassing myself.
All right. Well, I think what I'm going to start with, this is kind of the overall moment. And for me, it's the moment when you arrive at Walt Disney World. And I know to a lot of people that means a lot of different things. And for me, I was actually thinking about it. And when I'm down there, it's not so much when I'm first in the park and when I first get a glimpse of Cinderella Castle or Spaceship Earth. I actually find my most... dare I say, emotional moments occur
at baggage claim.
It's at baggage claim. No, you're not far from the truth. They actually happen at kind of strange times. It's actually the moment when I'm there and I realize I am here. I'm at Walt Disney World, and it usually occurs if I'm staying at an Epcot resort. It occurs when I walk out and I walk onto the boardwalk, and I realize, here I am, this is it. Or when I'm on a launch boat heading over to the Magic Kingdom, or on the monorail, especially the monorail, as I do the resort loop and hear the description of the Grand Floridian Resort and all those things. And I was trying to figure out why that is, and I think it really comes down to it's the realization that I'm here. I'm not just at a particular park. I'm not at a particular place. I'm in this whole new world, and I'm going to be here for few days a week, whatever it is. And this is, dare I say, my utopia, and this is it. And as I said, it hits me at weird moments, usually when I'm by myself and it's quiet outside and I'm heading to the park or wherever.
I agree, and I think that this necessarily shouldn't even be part of each of our top 5, because I had this as well as sort of an overall thing, because I think we all feel this way, and at different times, obviously. For you, it's, when you see Beaches and Cream in the distance, you know that you're there. For me, getting to Walt Disney World is when I'm arriving at the Magic Kingdom. Knowing that you're there and that you're home. As many of us, I think, feel that way. And we all sort of get that little smile, maybe not, outwardly, but internally, when you get on the monorail. And admit it, you walk just a little bit faster as you approach the Magic Kingdom entrance. And then, then when you see the castle, I don't care if it's your first time or 1,000th time. And look, I go often enough to say this comfortably, that seeing the castle for the first time, whether it's your first trip or your 10,000th trip, is a moment. And it always, I think, it always will be a moment. And people say, well, you go so often, don't you lose the magic? Absolutely not. And I think when I see Cinderella Castle and I smile, and you do get maybe a little bit even choked up, that's definitely a moment. And hopefully people are not laughing at me, but in agreement. So now let's start the sort of quote-unquote official top 5 each, top 10, combined list, and I will defer to you to go first.
Wait a minute. I need a moment.
Wow, that was
No, I agree totally. Well, I think for my first one, I'm going to go back in time a little bit. Spaceship Earth, for me, is one of my favorite attractions of all time, and I do love a lot of the enhancements that they recently made to it. But the one thing that I dearly, dearly miss is the descent, and in particular the City of the Future that was all lit up with the hundreds of thousands of lights. It seemed like. I know it wasn't that many, but it sure seemed like it. But more than that even was the music that you heard as you made that descent, and that, without a doubt, was one of the most emotional times I ever have in any of the rides, and I really, really miss it. And I hope one day, cross my fingers, maybe they'll bring it back one day. Okay. But I even tried to record it on my phone. You're going to send me the music file, aren't you?
No, but I'm going to ask you: are you a Jeremy Irons guy or are you a Walter Cronkite guy?
Jeremy Irons, and I in fact lost a bet on that to my wife once, because we didn't realize who, when it first opened. I didn't realize who it was, and she said, "That's Jeremy Irons." I said, "No, it's not." And I think I owe her 2 weeks of doing the dishes. I don't think I paid up yet, but
I'll be sure.
I definitely am. Yeah. I definitely am a Jeremy Irons guy. I'm definitely miss the narration. I don't dislike the new one, but I do adore the old one, and will always that's my Spaceship Earth those years. So.
Oh, I'm with you. But my the first one on my list, I'm going to sort of. I'm going to allow you to sort of pick your flavor here, and whether it's Illuminations with its just such incredibly powerful music, or for me, Wishes. Pick your nighttime fireworks show, but for me, there's something about Wishes and the dialogue and the classic music and the children singing at the end. There is still something about that show that always does it for me. And, whether I'm with my wife or with my kids or just with friends, there's something about that show that I just find very moving. And you sort of, you end the night with that, and you go home just a little bit happier than maybe you even came. So unless you're one of those guys with the kids who are now tired and it's 100 degrees and you're carrying the diapers and the stroller and all that kind of stuff. But
right.
Wishes or Illuminations, I think, sort of could be put together as one as far as the nighttime shows.
Yeah, well, I'll steal it. Yours is Wishes. Mine is most definitely Illuminations, and it's as you said, it's the music, it's the spectacle. My favorite moment is the false ending at the end when the globe opens up, and then the music swells again, and you have the massive fireworks at the end. And especially that one of my most beloved gifts I've ever gotten, my daughter got me one on one of our trips there. She got me the Illumination soundtrack, And to this day, I can put it in my car and listen to it. And by gosh, if I don't get to that spot and I'm grabbing for don't I have a tissue in here somewhere in the car? And, you know, that's how powerful the music is. We've talked about this many times, how powerful the music is at Walt Disney World. And that's a case where just even hearing the music at home does it for me, and it takes me right back to that spot.
And do you know how many people say all the time that I'm in my car and I'm listening to Illuminations, or it's 9 o'clock and I'm putting on the Illuminations soundtrack, or I'm at work and just an awful day and I put on Illuminations. And it just, like you said, it's a testament to the power of that single piece of music that I think makes it so incredible. I mean, it's beyond the fireworks. It's really the music that makes it. So, your turn or my turn?
Your turn.
All right. I kind of... This one is sort of... I know I'm giving you the lawyer answers for all these, but this one sort of is a multiple as one. But for me, I think... And again, it's going to especially take you back to Main Street or the Magic Kingdom specifically. But watching a parade on Main Street with your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, but more importantly, if you have children, and that very first time you watch them watch the parade and watch their eyes light up and wave, hoping that Cinderella waves back, and that look on their face when she does. My daughter will never remember when or why I hugged her the way that I did the first time she saw it. And she will never remember it. And she was very, very young, but she, the music and the people and everything else for her. But I mean, I did it with, a red face and tears in my eyes. And I know that my wife got it, and we sort of just gave each other that look. And I think I just got kicked out of Fight Club. So,
I'll vouch for you, buddy. That's I hear you on that one. My next one, let's see. I think I'm going to go over this. I hope people don't find this one too unusual, but this one's over at the One Man's Dream exhibit at the Hollywood Studios. And what it is for me is the end film of Walt Disney, and the history in his life and so forth. And just there are moments where I just get choked back a little bit, and I guess it's again, I'm not sure why. Probably just thinking of the man that's behind this, and realizing the history and the imagination and everything that he brought. And he was such an amazing person. Just chokes me up a little bit, and it's funny because it kind of leads to a weird moment I had the other day. I was watching Meet the Robinsons, and at the end of the film, they have right before the credits roll up, they pull up a quote by Walt Disney, and for some reason, when his name illuminated, I went, oh. I got a little weepy about that for the same reason, I guess, just realizing the man behind all of this that we love and adore so much.
Dude, come here and give me a hug. Come on, give me a big manly... And you know what? How fitting that we're recording this on Walt's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Absolutely. And I'm with you with the film, and I'm totally with you with Meet the Robinsons. I love the movie. I love to keep moving forward. That is a mantra that I live by. And you're right. That simple little, it's a throwaway.
And I don't know why it did that to me. I was just sitting there, and I just, oh my god!
Because those guys, they know what they're doing. And
they're pretty good. They're pretty good at that.
So for my next one, I couldn't really figure how to describe this one, and I'm going to say that I think for all of us, there's probably an attraction, a single attraction maybe that has a certain moment for you, a certain meaning, whether it's your first date or where you propose to your wife. And I think It's a Small World probably has meaning for everybody, whether it's the ride you remember going on as a kid or the ride that you joke about when you get off, but you still have to kind of go on every time, or the music. And for some reason, after I've talked to Richard Sherman, I have such a greater appreciation of that attraction and the music, and I listen so much more intently or differently. But the one that I'm going to point out is actually Soarin'. And believe it or not, Soarin' gets me in a way maybe than it does other people. It's beyond just, wow, this is a really thrilling ride and I have this feeling of flight. But the music, it moves me, and the visuals give me such a sense of freedom and makes me so proud to be an American. I don't know how else to describe it. And yes, there are times on Soarin', thankfully people are sitting side by side and not facing each other because, go ahead, Tim, you're next. So,
I don't know. There was one time I thought I heard someone gently sobbing on there. Maybe, I guess that was you.
That was only me because they took my funnel cake away. I wasn't allowed to actually bring it on the ride. Yeah, that's something else entirely.
Yeah, before I do my next one, I just want to second your It's a Small World. That does it for me, too. And it's funny, because obviously that's the ride that, for non-Disney folk, that's the one we probably get the most grief over, that we say we like and so forth. But
and at this point in the segment, let me just say that if we were in high school, we would so get beaten up tomorrow at school if anybody
but that's
heard
why
that.
Well, I still might, but we'll see how it goes here. But even my stepfather loves It's a Small World too, and he would second your thoughts on that absolutely too. So I think for my next one though, we're going to go out of the parks for a second, and we're going to head over to one of the resorts. And one of my family's favorite resorts is the Wilderness Lodge, and this is actually more for my wife than for me, even though this applies to me too. But the moment that we walk into the Wilderness Lodge lobby is just a pretty powerful moment for us, because it's so grand and it's so huge and it's so beautiful is the only way to describe it. And that's probably another one of those realizations that, wow, we're here. But to us especially, that Wilderness Lodge, probably more than the other resorts, do that to us, just because it's such a jaw-dropping sight as you walk through the doors and see, especially at Christmas time, which I'm so looking forward to in about a week or so.
And as you were saying this, I was thinking, and something I didn't even put in my notes, but this is it. Like, this is what differentiates Walt Disney World than any other. Tell me anybody else that goes to another park down the street and feels this way when they walk into the hotel or when they walk into an attraction or they walk up to a show. It just doesn't happen anywhere else but here.
Yeah.
I don't know what my point was of that, but I just needed to get that off.
I don't know. I agree with you totally. But it goes back to, like, what is it about it? And we've talked about it so much. It's not just a park. It's not just a hotel. It's a whole other world, for lack of a better word.
If you want to break out into a whole new world in song, please feel free.
It's a whole... Oh, yeah, that's a song, isn't it?
All right. So for my next one, I thought of shows, and I sort of separated these from attractions. And I will tell you that, believe it or not, Tim, Festival of the Lion King over at Disney's Animal Kingdom, that end celebration actually gets to me during that whole Circle of Life scene, and the music and the kids that are up and the people who are dancing. It's just, there's something about that I think is powerful. And again, it's a testament to the strength of the music and the performers. And honestly, I don't know why, but there were parts of the Great Movie Ride montage that do it for me as well. And what the heck they're pumping into that building, I don't know. But when it comes to shows, just eking out the American Adventure. And I admit that not a time goes by that I do not well up during that montage, and thank God it's dark in there, and I think every American needs to go see that every time they go, is finding...
We can still hear you, though.
Yes, that's true. I try and sit way in the back, but
yes.
Finding Nemo, the musical. I think, and again, we covered this a few weeks ago on the show, Glenn and I, and talked about it, and even more so now that I'm a parent, there's something about a few lines in there. When Marlin says to Nemo, love you, Dad, and he goes, love you, son. Forget it. I lose. I'm done. And when Crush says to Squirt in this very upbeat song, he's like, you're such an amazing kid. I've looked at my kids, and again, they're like, Dad, what is wrong with you?
They'll get it.
They'll get it. They will get it. And I think for those of us that are parents, relatively new parents, my kids are 3 and 5. You might appreciate that even more on another level. So,
right. My last one. I think we're on our last one by now. If I'm counting, right?
God, I hope so.
Excellent. My last one kind of plays off of yours, and I'm going to cheat a little bit on this one. and I'm going to go totally out of the parks, but to something that's just as important to the Disney empire is the films. And I could go, and I won't, but I could go through each and every film and pick out my most tear-jerky moment, if you will. But just a few that really get to me, and these are actually recent films. In Mulan, the scene where she's sitting with her dad, and he references the blossoms, looking beautiful, but she's beautiful. And I think, to your point, I think a lot of the moments that we're talking about are really parent-child moments, kind of in disguise. And for me, that's definitely one, because all I can do is think of my daughter while he's talking to her. And that gets me a bit teary, very teary, actually. And the next one, this is weird, and if someone can explain to me why I get teary at this point, I'd appreciate it, because it's kind of freaking me out, is in Ratatouille. And the moment when Anton Ego takes his bite of Ratatouille and is transported back to his childhood, I lose it. I don't know why. I lose it. And it's funny, because I'll watch the movie and I'll know it's coming, and away I'll go. And my daughter will look at me and she'll go, "What are you doing?" But I'm saving my all-time favorite for last, and it's my most tear-jerky moment in any Disney movie is in Toy Story 2, when Jessie sings "When She Loved Me." And I couldn't even get through that. You might have heard me warble right there. And I absolutely lose it when I hear that song. From my mind, it should have been the best song of the year 2000, not that Phil Collins song from that other Disney movie that with that ape guy, whoever that was. Yeah, so anyway, it's just the movies in general. Like you said, with the shows, and it's the same thing with the movies. And I guess it's the whole experience. It's the music. It's the emotion. And I said, I think it's a lot of the parent-child, and you see a lot of yourself in you. And like you and I both, I'm sure we think about our children a lot of times when we're seeing these things, and I bet a lot of people out there think the same way. A lot of it's even sharing moments with your children or seeing it through their eyes. I need a break.
You are 1,000% right, and we could very easily do an entire segment about the movies themselves. And it's funny, because when you're talking about that and you're talking about movies that you wouldn't necessarily expect to feel that sort of an emotional thing, I thought back to Meet the Robinsons, because when Bowler Hat Guy thinks back to his childhood at the orphanage when nobody wants him and he's playing ball and he ruins it for the team. Again, it's a moment, and you're right. It all goes back to that parent-child relationship, whether it's us as children and we're wanting to be children, and those moments in Peter Pan that probably affect people, or things in Mary Poppins, about the relationships with the children and their parents. There's so much to it. But my last one is two words, and it's very, very self-explanatory.
Funnel cake?
It is funnel cake, exactly. Cream spinach. It's cream spinach.
Oh boy!
No, it's going home.
Oh.
It is going home. And again, I don't care how many times you go. I don't care if you are, a DVC member and you live at Wilderness Lodge 6 months out of the year. When it's time to go home, it's a sad moment. Even though you're coming back or you've had such a great time, It is. And as soon as we leave, the first thing that we do is start planning our next trip and thinking about our next trip. And that's why things like podcasts and the internet and the forums are so great, because it keeps us connected to this place that we love so much, or even, new magazines that really give you a chance to experience the magic at home each and every month. So, but, and that's the thing. It could be things for you as a simple sound or a line from an attraction or music or something so personal to you that it could just be a single simple memory from your childhood that you went with your parents, or like I said, the place you proposed, or that place or song that was playing when you got dumped in Walt Disney World. Well, that might be your tear-jerking moment for you.
Did you get dumped in Walt Disney World?
Well, please, let's not even go there. Anyway, but if any of you still have any respect for me at all, I invite you to please share your moments or your places or your songs or your lines or attractions or food items. I do get a little weepy at the sign of the Orville Redenbacher popcorn stand at the entrance to Main Street, but I ask you to please go and post them in the forums, or even better, call the voicemail. And actually, if you can call while you're crying for added impact, that would even be best. So
that'd be great.
Tim, thank you for such an emasculating list. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Actually, if I can throw in here, because I had, before we move on, when you were talking about that, I kind of had an epiphany. And yes, that word came up on my word a day calendar this morning. About why a lot of this maybe makes us so tear-jerky. Because I was trying to figure out as you were talking. And I think a lot of it has to do with not just the parent-child thing, but a sense of innocence that you have. And I think as soon as I thought that, I thought, yeah, that makes a lot of sense for me. Because it's whether you're looking at Walt Disney or the world through your child's eyes, or you're realizing you're in Walt Disney World, which is a world away from the real world, in a place where you can be innocent and free from the stress and the hardships and so forth of everyday life. I think that's what gets me the most, is just for that brief moment in time you can connect with the innocence you had at one point as a child, perhaps, but you're getting it again. And I think even when I see Walt Disney and hear him talk, I think maybe that's why it does it for me, because here's a guy who did so many wonderful things that gave me this gift of letting me reconnect with my innocence, as you will. And you like that?
I do. And I actually had innocence on my notes, because that's exactly what it is. And I think that's maybe why all of us connect so well with each other, because we allow ourselves to feel that again. And we're not too old or not too proud to feel like, we could be a kid again when we're there, or when we're home, or when we're anticipating our trip. So I look forward to seeing you and seeing you crying, hopefully, next week at Mouse Fest.
That'll happen a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to actually, your table's going to be near mine, hopefully, at the Mega Mouse Meet on Saturday. I'm going to try and make you cry as often as possible. After which, from what I understand, you are heading over to Future World to pay your respects, basically, to another tear-jerking moment, which is the closing of the original Journey to Imagination. And then you're getting ready for, what are you calling it? Foster Mania? Fosterpalooza. Is that the name
That's
of your
it.
Fosterpalooza? That's
it.
I have to go register at fosterpalooza.com.
Right. Well, actually, you might know it better as the Guide to the Magic for Kids Tour of Epcot.
Yeah, but what sounds better?
Like
what looks better on a shirt? Fosterpalooza.
It's better be a big shirt. Now, if anybody is at Mouse Fest, I would love to have everybody come out. What we're doing is we're meeting in Future World at the Upside Down Waterfall in front of the Imagination Pavilion. And it's a meet for kids and their parents. And we're going to tour a few rides, Spaceship Earth Nemo, Journey into Imagination, crowds willing. And we're going to have scavenger hunts and games and prizes and all kinds of fun.
And crying. Lots of crying. There'll be a lot of crying.
Although I preface this, if anyone's... I'm not sure how to say this. If anyone's heard me on the show and thinks, for some misguided reason, that I've gotten a reputation of making children scared or cry and anything, I don't really do that. So don't be scared of coming out. We'll have a lot of fun. And it starts at 5 o'clock. It's for a couple hours. And it's on Saturday, right after the meet. And if anyone wants to come on out, that would be great. If you do think you'll come out, if you want to visit guidetothemagic.com, just shoot me an RSVP. That would be great, because then we know how many prizes we can bring and how many stickers I need to print up, and so everyone can have a great time.
Awesome. And as long as you're here, and I'm going to put you on the spot, but I think it's safe. I think it's safe for us to share a little bit of good news with listeners as well about a certain magazine.
Yeah.
We didn't want to say it too early, because we wanted to make sure it was actually happening, but.
It's happening.
It's happening. It's happening. Issue number 2 is arriving in people's mailboxes today, bagged. They are poly bag. They are now in plastic bags with a sheet inside where your address is going to be on. So the magazine will arrive in pristine condition. No labels on the cover. No damage to the cover, God willing, and they should be arriving as you hear this.
Yep. Or if not, certainly within the next week or so, we should all have them. And it is our holiday issue, and I think we really did it up, and I hope when everybody gets it, if nothing else that'll really put everyone in the holiday spirit, because there's lots of holiday. Did I say Hollywood or holiday? I meant holiday. There's lots of holiday magic inside, tons of pictures and articles and so forth, and it was a lot of fun to put together, and I hope everyone enjoys it.
Absolutely. I am actually looking forward to seeing it, because readers have emailed me today that they have it, and I'm telling them that's great because I haven't actually seen it yet. But so I, too, am looking forward to issue 2. And obviously, if you want to subscribe to the magazine or order back issues of issue 1 or issue 2, you can go to celebrationspress.com. Tim Foster's site is guidetothemagic.com. It soon will also be fosterpalooza.com. And Tim, again, thanks for coming on this, what possibly may be our last Top 10 segment ever together.
See, that's the thing that's going to make me cry the most.
Buddy, I'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Dare to do what dreamers do. Wishes, dream a dream. Wishes, set it free. Wishes.
It's time now to announce the winner of last week's trivia contest. Thank you all so much for playing. I really appreciate it. I'm overwhelmed by the number of entries that we get every week. You guys really seem to be enjoying this. And definitely, you guys know your stuff. That is without a doubt. Or you can Google very, very well. Anyway, as you recall, the questions from last week were all from the Wayback Machine. And the first question was, what was the original name of the Astro Orbiter? And of course, I meant in Walt Disney World. I apologize for any confusions. That was Starjets. Starjets was the original name. The second was, what was the motto of XS Technology from the extraterrestrial alien encounter? For this one, I will actually take either seize the future, or if something can't be done with XS, then it shouldn't be done at all. Chairman Clench, rest in peace. And the third one was, who was the hostess of the Kitchen Cabaret show, the show that had the whole town cooking over at the Land? It was our good friend and somewhat depressed housewife, Bonnie Appetit, who sang about chasing those mealtime blues away. So, again, lots of right answers this week, but our winner this week is, from Maryland, Amy Vance. Amy, congratulations. Please send me your address. I'll get you out your prizes as soon as I get back from Mousefest. Remember, you won both audio guides to Walt Disney World on CD and a 2009 Walt Disney World page-a-day calendar. For those of you that did not win, thank you for playing. Congratulations. Again, because Mousefest is next week, I'm going to hold off on a contest this week, but I promise that I will pick it up again when I get back. And who knows, well, just stay tuned. So thank you again for playing. To everybody who got these correct, again, I really enjoyed doing these games with you. I will definitely continue these after I get back from Mousefest. Thanks for tuning in again this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks also to my guests, George Taylor, he's at imaginerding.com, and Top 10 Tim Foster, who's over at Guide to the Magic, as well as everybody who called the voicemail, emailed the show, and played in this week's contest. If you have a question you want read on the air, you can always email me at lou@wdwradio.com. But if you want to be heard, if you want to get on the air, call the new toll-free voicemail line at 888-703-2171. That's 888-703-2171. You know I love it when you call in with feedback, questions, and especially when you call in right from the parks. Just wanted to remind you that even though it's December, I am still going on with my Thanksgiving sale, and you can still get your 2009 Walt Disney World Trivia page-a-day calendar for just $7 over at DisneyWorldTrivia.com. There you can also get signed copies of my Walt Disney World trivia books and my audio guides to Main Street USA and Adventureland. As Tim and I said in the earlier segment, Celebrations Magazine Issue 2 is out and it's on its way if you are a subscriber. If not, you can go and visit celebrationspress.com. You can order back issues of issue 1 or 2, or you can subscribe right from there. And if you want to be a part of the magazine, if you have an idea for an article, want to submit a photo, by all means, send those to me as well at lou@wdwradio.com. Special thanks, as always, to my partners and sponsors, including Mousefan Travel. They are my official and recommended travel provider for all of your vacation planning needs. All-Star Vacation Homes, they still have an exclusive discount for listeners where you can get a free rental car and $50 gas card. And Owner's Locker, they still have their offer going on, $50 off the sign-up fee. You can find all those links and more on our show notes on our homepage at WDWradio.com. As I've mentioned on the show, next week is Mousefest, and I will be down in Walt Disney World, but I promise you I will have a show out next Sunday. But if you are going to be down in Walt Disney World, coming to any of the Mousefest events, I invite you to please come on by any or all of my meets. There's Podfest at the studios on Friday afternoon, my Illuminations meet Saturday night by the Torii Gate in Japan, and Trivia Fest on Sunday afternoon at the Magic Kingdom's Tomorrowland Terrace Noodle Station. There's links, information at mousefest.org, as well as in our show notes. Again, I invite you to please come on by, say hi. There's going to be lots of giveaways and prizes. Of course, I'm also going to have a table on Saturday at the Mega Mouse Meet at the Beach Club. So again, please come on by and say hi. I also want to just let you know again, we are approaching show number 100, and I asked as part of our celebration of the 100th episode to help us meet 100% of our goal for the DisneyWorldTrivia.com Dream Team project. We have a page over at firstgiving.com/DWT Dream Team. Again, that link is in the show notes. We have about just $42,000 now. Our goal is $45,000. I'd love to reach 100% of our goal by our 100th show. Again, anything you can do to help out is sincerely, sincerely appreciated. It'll go a long way towards making a terminally or chronically ill child and their family's dream come true by being able to go to Walt Disney World. So anyway, on upcoming shows, lots of exciting things, more Wayback Machines, DSIs, special interviews, lots of surprises coming up, so please stay tuned. Remember, if you're a new listener, I invite you to go back, check out some of our earlier shows. Again, you can go to the show notes archive right at WDWradio.com. Get an idea of what's on some of those shows. Again, a lot of them aren't really time-specific, so I think you might find some things that you like there. Remember, to comment on or to talk about the show, you can visit the WDW Radio Show forums over at DisneyWorldTrivia.com. It's fun. It's free to join. We have more than 30,000 members as part of our family over there. Very welcoming, very friendly site. Again, please come by and check that out. And as always, if you like the show, please help spread the word and let others know about it. Please come over and say hi on Facebook or follow my instant updates on Twitter. There's links to both of these in the show notes as well. Next week, I'll be twittering my little fingers off at Mousefest. So if you can't get down to Mousefest and join us, you can kind of follow along at home. Or if you are down there, you can get your updates instantly on your cell phone if you like, kind of see where I am and what I'm doing. Again, if you want to come over and say hi, please do. I encourage you to. And of course, I mean it when I say thank you for taking the time out of your week to listen and tune into the show. I really do appreciate it. So until next time, my friends, I hope you have a fantastic week. If you're coming down to Mousefest, I look forward to seeing and meeting all of you. So until next time, see ya.
Hey Lou, it's Cassidy. Sam isn't saying ho ho ho. He is saying Mongello. Bye.
Hi Lou, this is Darlene, Lucy Lou on the board. I just wanted to let you know that we're going down to Disney in June of 2009, and we were able to get the discount. We had booked our trip with the Park Hopper and the no expiration, so we saved about $850. It was wonderful savings, and we are very pleased with that. My husband was actually very pleased with that. So, it was a great deal that Disney came out with. I'm very happy because now, we'll have more to spend on souvenirs and stuff. I am very pleased with the show. I'm very happy that you won your award. Congratulations. And looking forward to listening to the next show and getting the next Celebrations magazine. Awesome magazine. Great job to you and Tim. Bye.
Hello, Lou. This is Evan from Fort Lauderdale. I'm driving up to the World right now. I just stopped in Fort Pierce for lunch. My mom is driving up from Palm Beach Gardens, and I'm going to meet her at Port Orleans French Quarter. This is a little vacation for her. And Just want to say I've been getting into the Disney frame of mind by listening to your podcasts in the car on the way up and also over the weekend, catching up. I just want to say that I have a unique Disney moment that starts when I get off the turnpike and turn left on Osceola Boulevard, and it slowly builds until I drive through the arch, that purple arch. Then I know I am in Disney, and the rest of the world kind of goes away for a little while. Love your podcasts, and keep up the great work. Okay, bye.
Hey, Lou, this is Tim Stenzel from Marion, New York again. Just listening to this week's show about the 7 wonders of the world and about how the 7th one is the cast members. And I can't say how much I agree with you more about that. It's the cast members that really make the magic happen over there down at Disney World and Disneyland. I was back in August. I was back at Disneyland. And, you know, I just happened to be walking by the monorail, and I remember that the new monorails were hitting the line then, and I had seen one of them earlier but didn't see it in the afternoon, and I just struck up a conversation with one of the guys standing, one of the cast members standing right by the loading area there, and it was just so cool because he was just carrying on a conversation with me, and it seemed like at the time I was the only one that mattered. And it was really kind of cool. He's just like, it was almost like talking to an old friend or something. And I've noticed that about the cast members all over the place. They really go above and beyond the call of duty to make you feel at home there. And I don't see that anywhere else that I've gone. I don't take a lot of vacations in life, but most of them, you know, I don't really. Sometimes the people make the vacation not so nice. But can't say that about the cast members. They're really great. I just wanted to chime in on that little conversation there. Keep up the great work on the show, and see you later. Bye.
Hey, Lou, it's Jason. I was just listening to the show about, a lot of different stuff, I guess, but the Discovery Island or Treasure Island ideas for what it could become. And I like the idea of the honeymoon getaway. Maybe not as much of a place to stay, but kind of an all-inclusive resort type thing to where you go for the day and everything's included, your food, your drink, and just a place where, you know, adults can go to relax and have that quiet, intimate time that they honeymoon could sometimes lack here at Disney World, but I think that could go a long way. Have a wonderful day, and I really enjoy the show. Bye.
Everything about us, you can't live without us, till it's gone.